From getting molested by the one and only basketball great, Wilt Chamberlain, to being in a secret relationship for over 20 years, this is the secretive, interesting, and quite surprising sex life of Cassandra Elvira Peterson. When you compare Cassandra Peterson, especially her Elvira persona, to other sex symbols, there's a very clear difference. While most of them cater to mainstream tastes, Elvira clearly appeals to an alternative audience. This doesn't make her any less of a sex symbol. As a matter of fact, some may argue that it makes her more appealing than most. But how did the Elvira persona come to be in the first place? What strange pathways led her to become the sexy mistress of horror? It's actually a bit of a miracle that Cassandra grew up to be such a beautiful woman, especially when you learn that she suffered a freak accident as a toddler that could have left her permanently disfigured. What happened was that she was scalded by boiling water, requiring skin grafts covering 35% of her body. Thankfully, she made a full recovery. If she had had even a little bit of scarring, she likely would not have had a career in showbiz. After all, a showgirl's greatest asset is her body. Well, Elvira managed to go the rest of her young life without any further incidents. However, the seeds that led to her becoming one of the greatest sex symbols who ever lived were planted when she was a child. While most other girls her age were obsessed with Barbie dolls, Elvira cared more for horror toys. This led to her discovering the wonderful world of horror movies, with House on Haunted Hill being the first one she ever saw. This undoubtedly led to her maturing way quicker than her colleagues, especially when you consider what happened in this next chapter of her life. The things she got up to before graduating high school were just mind-boggling. During her teens, Elvira worked as a go-go dancer in a Colorado gay bar. Not only that, but she performed mostly as a drag queen. As a go-go dancer, Elvira would have had to dress in very sexy outfits so as to keep her clientele entertained. But as a teenager, was she really old enough to be in such spaces? This wasn't a one-time thing for Elvira either. Other than dancing at a nightclub, she entertained soldiers posted at Fort Carlson in Colorado Springs. While most of her schoolmates spent their nights watching movies and fooling around, Elvira lived a rather raunchy nightlife. In any case, when the time came, she graduated right along with them. After graduation, Elvira's parents hoped that she would go on to make something dignified of herself. Unfortunately for them, the girl had other plans. Where did these plans come from, and what did they entail? Well, another sex symbol had a lot to do with it. The movie Viva Las Vegas featured one of the greatest stars to ever live, Elvis Presley. However, in it, he was almost overshadowed by the electrifying Anne Margaret. Anne Margaret was such a lightning rod in that movie that Elvis's manager, the infamous Colonel Tom Parker, had to do everything in his power to block her shine. Despite his best efforts, though, Anne Margaret still touched the hearts of millions. Among them was 17-year-old Elvira. She was so obsessed with the movie that she convinced her parents to take her to Las Vegas to see a live show. In Las Vegas, several doors would open up for the young Cassandra Peterson. She would head down a road from which there would be no turning back. In Las Vegas, the 17-year-old Elvira's beauty and talent were so evident that she was noticed by the production staff at one of the live shows. Elvira, who was determined not to let this opportunity pass her by, convinced her parents to let her sign a contract with the venue. Again, her parents agreed, but only after she completed high school. The moment Elvira received her high school diploma, she drove full speed back to Las Vegas to begin her new life. Now, Elvira wanted to walk in Anne Margaret's footsteps. However, she did so a little too well. While working at the Dunes, she ended up meeting Elvis Presley. Though he was already involved with Priscilla at the time, that didn't stop him from taking Elvira on a date. It's said that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But knowing Elvis, he had quite a magical night with Elvira. Well, for Elvira, this is where her path and Anne Margaret's path diverge. While an association with Elvis shot Anne Margaret right to the top of Hollywood, Elvira had to go the long way around. For one, she had a minor role in the James Bond film Diamonds Are Forever. She also played a topless dancer in the film The Working Girls. At this point in Elvira's life, she realized she would never have mainstream success, but this wasn't such a big blow to her hopes. After all, she had succeeded in the underground scene all this time. Why covet spaces that didn't want her? In the early 70s, Elvira started working in the Playboy Club in Miami as a showgirl. She was so good at her job that after a while, she signed on with Hugh Hefner's Playboy modeling agency. Now we all know how touchy Hugh liked to get with his girls. Well, at the Playboy modeling agency, Elvira quickly rose up the ranks and started working as a hostess as well as a model. Elvira thrived in the underground scene for many years. She appeared in many adult magazines such as Playgirl, Modern Man, and Swank. She also toured in nightclubs and discos around the country. Her work ethic was so impressive that her big break was around the corner, and it came in a horrific way. In 1981, the Elvira personality was first introduced to the world. It was based on horror hostess Mila Nurmi's Vampira character. Elvira borrowed so liberally from Vampira that Mila Nurmi sought legal action against the producers of the show. Even so, Elvira became its own thing, surging in popularity so much that it became a nationwide sensation. Sure, a big part of Elvira's appeal was her sexiness, but with camp humor and good-natured self-mockery, the character soared to even greater heights. This made her so marketable that so many different products were sold using the Elvira brand. On top of this, the character was slated to star in a couple of movies. At long last, little Cassandra's moment was here, but success was not without its drawbacks. When Elvira was in her 20s, she was convinced to pose nude by a husband and wife couple. They told her they were photographers for Penthouse magazine and could make her very famous. After the shoot, she never heard back from them and forgot about the whole thing. However, the moment she blew up, they sold her photos to many sleazy men's magazines. Unfortunately, there was nothing Elvira could do about this. She just had to live with the pain of regret. Her intimate pictures circulated all over the world. What's worse is that she wasn't even getting any money for them. Despite such a blow to her reputation, Elvira didn't have trouble finding a husband. She got married to musician Mark Pearson in 1981, who soon became her personal manager. Their marriage lasted 22 years, producing a daughter, Sadie, in 1994. However, in 2003, they abruptly got divorced. Elvira's split from Mark had some people scratching their heads. However, they would not find out the reason for this separation until 20 years later. When Elvira published her memoir in 2021, several of her fans were shocked. According to her, the moment her marriage ended, she began a lesbian relationship with her best friend, Teresa T. Weirson. Some people just couldn't believe it. Elvira in a lesbian relationship? For others, though, it made perfect sense. In any case, Elvira still ardently denied any allegations that she was a lesbian. She asserted that she was still attracted to men. However, her connection with Teresa was so special that it blossomed into something more. While Elvira's memoir came with some exciting revelations, it also came with some horrific ones as well. According to her, in 1970, Wilt Chamberlain sexually assaulted her. For those who are unfamiliar with him, Wilt Chamberlain is one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. According to Elvira, he lured her into his room by claiming he wanted to show her his customized closet. While there, the 7-foot, 300-pound Chamberlain forced Elvira to go down on him. Elvira, who was deeply scared, could not object to the large man's demands. After the encounter, she was so ashamed she could not even report him to the police. She felt no one would believe the word of a showgirl against that of an NBA superstar. Though Cassandra Peterson got older, the Elvira character never quite faded away. The fact that it was infused with much humor meant that it had a lot to go on other than just looks. As the years went by, Cassandra found other ways to capitalize on it, such as books, brand deals, and ads. Sure, her showgirl and horror hostess days became a thing of the past. However, the Elvira persona survived in popular culture. At 72, Cassandra is still going strong. Though she's much older now, the Elvira persona, immortalized on film, will remain young and beautiful forever. If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll also enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.